All right, we're going to continue the conversation on those record high gas prices, and we're going to welcome back business and markets analyst and Newsmax contributor Seth Denson. Seth, thanks for being with us. I hope you got a little disco nap in there since the last hour. Happy to have you back.
You know what? A cup of coffee and just kept watching the show. It was a great show. Everybody should be watching.
There you go. We'll take it. We'll take it. All right. So, of course, the price per barrel of crude oil is over $120 per barrel, and the national average price per gallon of gas is at $4.82. It keeps going up and up and up. Should President Biden start new oil and gas drilling?
Well, he should, but here's the reality. We kind of touched on it last segment. Oil producers in the United States could produce more. Current leases would allow them to do it, but quite frankly, they're resisting doing so. And here's why. It wasn't that long ago that the price of oil fell below $0 a barrel. In other words, they were pumping it and weren't nobody's buying it. And what happens is, when you look at the overall economic policy of the Biden administration, oil manufacturers and producers are saying, hey, listen, if we step up and we expand our expense load to generate more oil, are you going to be there for us, or are you going to go back to business as usual, which is really trying to put us out of business as soon as we're done? So until the Biden administration will sit down with oil manufacturers and producers and say, hey, I am going to restructure my economic policy where I recognize that U.S. dependence on U.S. oil is a good thing, I don't see them changing course, and nor should they. Their shareholders would quite frankly crucify them if they did, because if you look at in just a couple of different companies, oil manufacturers, it's easy to demonize them. We try to do it all the time, or at least a lot of the media does. But here's the reality.
Doing it right now, right?
What's that?
The Democrats are doing that right now.
That's exactly right. They've done it since they've taken power. But if you look at their overall stock price in comparison to the S&P 500, it's not even close. Oil manufacturers aren't even close to the same types of earnings. And so here's the reality. We need oil manufacturers. We need to stop demonizing. We need to recognize the impact they are to our economy and national security. And they will be the key to getting this inflation under control. Them and only them.
Well, Democrats literally held a hearing called Gouging at the Gas Pump and went after those big oil CEOs. But in terms of the measures that Biden's implemented, we know that the country's strategic petroleum oil reserve has been drained. Part of Biden's plan to lower gas prices, but none of the measures that have been implemented so far seem to have put a dent in the prices that we're seeing at the pump. Why is that?
Well, that's because of the amount of oil that we demand is what was released under the strategic oil reserve is a fraction. Again, the Biden administration's policy has been to continue to go to OPEC and ask for more. Is that really who we want to go to? By the way, OPEC is actually called OPEC Plus now because it includes Russia. So now you've got Saudi Arabia, Russia, effectively everybody in the Middle East, and that's who now we're relying on when we don't have to. We net import about 20% of our oil, when in reality we have more than enough to service the entirety of the United States, and then net export. We could cover the losses that Europe has had from Russian oil, but unfortunately that's just not been the policy of this administration.
Yeah, Seth, let's pivot a little bit and look at that jobs report. Of course, the United States adding 390,000 jobs in May. Now that's beating expectations. The unemployment rate staying at 3.6%. Can we look at this as good news for the economy? Maybe. Good news is certainly in short supply these days.
I am a glass half full kind of guy. I know it doesn't sound like it this morning, maybe, but I am. So I'll take the good news. I'll take the fact that our joblessness is still down. And quite frankly, that's about the only thing that's keeping this economy from dipping into a recession. And I've said it before that, if you look at the overall economy, it's almost like looking at my car and saying, I got 4 wheels on my car. If one wheel is going in the right direction, that's great. But if the other 3 aren't, I'm in trouble. And in this case, when we look at the economy, jobs is going in the right direction, but GDP growth, inflation, and consumer confidence aren't. And those are the other 3 wheels. And until we get them going in the right direction, the economy won't go in the right direction, and it's either going to stall or go backwards.
And let's talk about the Fed for a second.
I was that glass half full kind of guy. I don't know where that
We believe you.
Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, says brace yourself for another economic hurricane caused by the Fed and the war in Ukraine. I mean, it was very interesting to hear Janet Yellen's comments this week and to look at sort of how the Federal Reserve is factoring into all of this?
Yeah, listen, I was really disappointed in Janet Yellen when the Biden administration made that appointment. I was optimistic because she knows her stuff, and then this week she either proved that she's ignorant or she's lying. And I don't think she's ignorant. I think she was lying this whole time, much like we heard about the masks, right? Early on, don't buy masks, they won't work, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, buy masks, they work. I think that's kind of the same thing if you want to draw a correlation, that the administration felt that lying to the American public was better. That's terrifying. And here's the reality. When you look at this administration, and quite frankly, even Janet Yellen, nobody has actual business experience. Nobody's run a P&L. Nobody understands. So I'm going to take my P's and Q's from people like Jamie Dimon, who have run a P&L, who do understand the economy, and I'm going to prepare.
Interesting, similar predictions from Dimon and Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Okay, Seth Denson, thank you for that.